What's up, you guys? It's your favorite sports chica, Carolina Teague, and this is episode 26 of League of Our Own. Welcome back. It is officially Wemby Wednesday. It's May 17th, and I'm here at VodPod Studios with my guy, radio husband, and producer Gylan Jackson, making sure everything is running smoother than olive oil on a baby's behind. We got big news. It's Wemby Wednesday. Spurs win the NBA lottery, get a number one pick. That means generational talent. Victor Wembanyama is coming to San Antonio. Talking John Morant, Devin Haney versus Loma. But we also have a special guest host today. That's my guy, Boom Boom Brandon Oliver
from RCW.
Don't confuse
Carolina.
The suspenders. I'm not a farmer, but I
Hold
am.
up. Boom Boom. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Carolina sounds like a wrestling announcer right now.
That's good.
She's like coming hard. Like, live from the ring, RCW.
You know what? Being around Boom Boom, knowing he's my boss at RCW, it does inspire me to give my best vocal performance.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially since you're right next to me.
And I mean, even when I talk on the mic at the wrestling shows, I don't sound like this either. This is a completely different, at the wrestling shows, it's like, I hate you type of thing.
Yeah. The boom boom that I get here and the boom boom that I get in the ring are two totally different boom booms. Just saying, because every time you're in the ring, you have this dominant. Well, you are dominant because it's your ring. This is your show. This is your production, and you turn into just the real boom boom. Which this is the real boom boom. This is more relaxed boom boom.
This is promoter boom boom. Which, by the way, I don't think we mentioned the promotion, River City Wrestling, which has been San Antonio's brand of professional wrestling for over 20 years, and pretty much a staple in San Antonio wrestling. Other groups that have been around have not been around with this sort of tenure. So, yeah, now I'm kind of in my selling, promoting mode.
And I'm excited. The events this Sunday, tickets are almost sold out. Mm-hmm. So if you haven't gotten the tickets, you can get them at www.rivercitywrestling.net. I already know that by heart.
Good.
So I don't have to look up anything. This Sunday it's going to be a really exciting show, and just having promoters come in to just promote their stuff, it just means a lot to me. So thank you for coming on. But people are going to see a different side of you today.
Okay.
A side that they've never seen before. A sports take.
Oh my God.
Boom. Someone who's giving their unsolicited sports opinions, which I've seen your social media posts, and you have given a lot of unsolicited sports opinions.
Well, the thing is, if you're in wrestling, you have to be able to talk smack, right? I mean, that's just it. They go hand in hand. And so, yeah, if you're going to put out opinions, and put them out there in the social media world, I'm ready, so let's do this.
They have to be strong. And I'm glad that you get that, because there's some people when I give, and Gylan is one of those people too. Gylan gives very strong opinions, whether you like them or you hate them. Mm-hmm. He's very, very passionate. And I think because
I'm right.
Because not all the time. You're not right.
Always.
Most of the time you are. But let's get started. We just might as well get started. We got Victor Wembanyama. Well, he's coming to San Antonio almost 100% sure. I don't think I've ever been 100% sure that somebody was going to come to San Antonio until the Spurs got the number one lottery draft pick for the 2023-2024 season. I am just in shock that the Spurs got the number one pick for the third time. The first time was in 1987 with David Robinson. Second time was 10 years later in 1997 with Tim Duncan. And they were able to create a dynasty. And now you have Victor Wembanyama. He's coming in
Wemby.
Wemby.
Yeah.
It's Wemby Wednesdays. He's coming this year, 2023, number one draft pick. It's going to be really exciting. And I think this is crazy. I've read that the San Antonio Spurs are the luckiest team in the NBA draft lottery. They've had 6 total appearances, and they've won the number one slot 3 times. There's rumors that this could be rigged. And I want to ask you both, do you think that this is a rigged lottery pick?
Who wants to go first?
I'm going to let Gylan go first.
Hell no.
Why not?
let me just kind of come from the point of conspiracy theorists and why people think that they're rigged. I'm not saying this is my thoughts. I'm just trying to be the voice of the conspiracy theorists. How lucky are the San Antonio Spurs? They've had 6 draft lottery appearances. They get 3 number 1 picks, generational talents. This guy is from France. He's a Frenchman. International players go very well. Coach Popovich. This is a good look for the NBA brand. This is going to draw a lot of money to the Spurs organization, to the Spurs brand. Everybody loves Coach Pop. He's going to leave San Antonio with a bang. And people are saying this is a rigged draft lottery, that there's no way lightning can strike 3 times in a row for the San Antonio Spurs organization. If you have 6 appearances and you get the first draft pick 3 times, that means you're 50% lucky. That's like a lot of luck. So what is your response to that?
Boom, boom.
Well, here's the thing that I think about, and the Spurs organization also, recognizes this as well. San Antonio is not a major market for the NBA. So that already right there kind of refutes that conspiracy theory because, unless you're the Lakers, the Knicks, the Bulls, the Heat, so on and so forth, you kind of get scraps. And San Antonio has always gotten the scraps, scraps media-wise, scraps sponsor-wise, scraps TV deal-wise nationally. And so unless we perform at a super high level, then we'll get those things. But other than that, San Antonio is a small market. It's a big, small market, but it's not a major market when you're talking about the NBA as far as that concerned. So that doesn't really make any sense. I also think that the Spurs, honestly, for us, for all the haters out there, the Spurs know what they're doing. This is what they do. Just like I wouldn't question somebody else's day job. They've been, 40, 50, 60 hours in a week. This is what the Spurs do. And so, the Spurs probably looked at it and said, we're not going to get LeBron James or Steph Curry or any sort of big, free agents. The free agents that they have gotten, they were okay. LaMarcus Aldridge is probably the biggest name, but they have to grow it within their own. I think the Spurs organization realized they probably know a little bit more than us about Kawhi Leonard, and I know you love DeJounte Murray, but they probably knew a little bit about that too, and said, what increases our best chance? I know the lottery was probably a little bit different in the 90s as far as the chances. Robinson being out for that season, and Pop really believes in load management and managing minutes and managing the security of his players. And so I would joke when we would be at Spurs games, I'd be like, imitating Pop and being like, well, Keldon Johnson, you're playing a little too well right now. Why don't you go and sit this one out for a few minutes? I think they knew what they were doing, what likely increases their odds of being successful, and that is drafting and building up their own players within the system. And so, they got lucky, but at the same time, they also had, the tied for best odds. Mm-hmm. And so that doesn't happen by chance at these professional levels. These guys know what they're doing.
And just for all intents and purposes, I don't think it's rigged. I don't know where Gylan went, because Gylan's very passionate about conspiracy theorists when it comes to Spurs and things being rigged and trying to debunk those rumors. I think he disappeared because he's scared of the topic.
I'm right here.
Oh, okay. Okay, see, this is what I'm saying. So,
first of all, you must be 5'6" to talk shit. Second of all, I what Boom Boom says makes perfect sense. These are people that are bored at home. These are people that are looking for confirmation bias for what they want and how they feel. And are there conspiracy theories? Has stuff been fixed? Has stuff been rigged? Yeah, but more times than not, it's not. You're talking about $1 billion brand now with gambling in it. And I don't think people are going to screw with that because there's too much money to be made. That's it.
And there's also a lot of accountability at those levels. I mean, they're just not letting, executives and things like that be willy-nilly. There's a lot of accountability. We don't really see it
Exactly.
but it's there. And, you know, I mean, if you think about it at your own job or your own place of work, how much accountability there is. Well, I guess it depends on where you work, but most like corporations. I mean, let's just pick on USAA, is one of the big employers here in the city. I mean, they are completely accountable for everything, and so I know they're going through a bad time right now. They went through a whole bunch of layoffs, but you know, a corporate entity isn't going to, you know, do a pie chance or, oh, we got lucky. You know, they're accountable for a lot of different things.
You know, and I do want to talk about, because I have Anthony Gonzalez. He said if it was rigged, it was a well-deserved rig, being all that the Spurs have influenced to the game, and Pop has contributed, so they deserve the rig. You know, whatever you think, whether it's luck, whether it's rigged, whether it's spirituality, all of the above. People in San Antonio were lighting candles. They were doing, they were praying for Wemby.
They was honking downtown last night.
They what? Oh, they were honking.
Yeah, people went honking
Yeah, I
downtown.
mean, like,
Yeah.
they won a championship. I mean, people really manifested this #1 pick, and I think it is, you know, San Antonio's very Latino Hispanic community, and I'm sure there's a lot of spiritual brujeria things that went on to get the #1 pick that we're totally not aware of, and we don't want to play with that. So I'm just gonna say that it might have had to do with all that extra spirituality type stuff. Now, I also want to ask you guys this, okay? Because Michael Jimenez, one of my good friends, he's a sports talking head. He said Team Tank, and me and him have been arguing all season last season about Team Tank. He was pro Team Tank. He wanted the Spurs to purposefully tank so they could get the #1 pick. He got what he wanted. Spurs got the #1 pick. And I was always Team play in, where I wanted the Spurs to perform at their best no matter what and try to make the play in so they could, you know, just at least, I don't want to root for a team to lose. So I was always pro team play in, and now the tides have turned, and now Team Tank is gloating, and Team Tank is saying that team play in, people like me and people who think like me, we don't deserve to celebrate this #1 draft lottery pick because we wanted the Spurs to be successful last season. Do you guys think that team play in deserves to celebrate this #1 draft pick?
I believe that anyone that's a true Spurs fan should celebrate it, whether they're a team tank or team play in. You know, we talked a little bit before this about fair weather fans, and you know, the fans. I mean, I myself went to 8 or 10 games last season. You know, the fans that you know, rode or die, whether it's success or not. You know, I feel like the Spurs should do like a ticket lottery, and like, you know, if you buy. If you have a receipt, if you have a ticket from last season, you get first pick at tickets, and the ones that, you know, are just coming around now because they're excited about it, you know, they could sit up in, you know, 300s or something like that. But I don't believe they were tanking. I don't believe that the players were intentionally throwing games. I believe they just systematically figured out a team that would get them to that part. And so, you know, if you go out and sign Damian Lillard, well, you're going to be a play-in team. I mean, that's, you know, but if you put the players around them, you know, that have good hearts, good, you know, good morals, good everything, you know, but, you know, just in terms of actually getting wins, you know, you can organize and you can strategize that and still have a team that you love and, you know, that you respect and build up. But, you know, you kind of built up a team that, you know, isn't probably going to get in that plan. They're not going to get that far. Probably going to increase your draft chances. And it's obvious, too, because, I mean, how many Spurs draft picks do they have over the next, like, 5, 6, 7 years? Like 24, 25?
Yeah, something ridiculous.
They have, I believe they have 3 first-round draft picks next year. I think they have 11 or 12 total first-round draft picks in the next several years, and I think a total of 24 and 25 in that area with first and second round combined. They have a plethora of draft picks. So they strategically, I mean, this was very strategic on the Spurs' behalf. And, of course, you don't like the seasons where, you know, you see them struggle. I mean, I was one of only 5 people in the locker rooms this season. I mean, it was drab. I don't know if that's a word, but drab is the word that I can. It was a drag. That's what I can say. Gylan, do you think team play-in, people who were rooting for the Spurs last season when they were quote unquote purposefully tanking, do you think they deserve to celebrate along with Team Tank?
I don't think Team Tank should celebrate at all. I will never, ever, as a sports fan, root for my team to lose, period. So instead of Team Tank, and Michael Jimenez did not like this, it's Team Turds, because it's a bunch of bullshit. You don't root for your team to lose, period. Because we don't know what's going to happen when Wemby comes. We have no idea. Big men are notorious for bad feet, for bad knees, heart conditions. Like, he is literally a freak of nature. Now, they've done their due diligence. He's been playing professional overseas. But I would never root for my team to lose. And I would not root for a team to be in the play-in. And this is why. Just real quick, and I'll land this plane real quick. When I started rooting for the Spurs, my Rockets had won 2 championships, right? I was at the Memorial Day Miracle shot, and I never felt anything like that in my life when Sean Elliott hit that shot. I expect greatness from the San Antonio Spurs, no less. And I always want them to win the championship. I don't want them to be in the play-in. I don't want them just to win. I know we got to ramp up, but I'm sorry. Team play-in, team turds, no. I want them to be a team, and I want them to win, because anything less is mediocrity.
You know, and here's my final thoughts on this. I know you wrapped it up, but I never gave my opinion. I just want to say, don't tell me what the hell I can and can't do. If I'm team playing and I'm happy for Wemby, let me be damn happy for Wemby, okay? I can do whatever the hell I want. Nobody pays my bills. Nobody tells me what to do. Nobody, can stop me from doing anything. So if I would like to be team playing and root for a team to be successful throughout a season when they're probably not going to be successful, and still be happy that they got the number 1 pick, I can do that. I can do both. I can walk and chew gum at the same time. So for anybody out there who people have ever told you can't do this and you can't do that, you know I have control issues, Gylan. When people trying to control me, you put it in writing, put it in a contract if you want to control me, okay? So unless it's in writing and you're cutting me a check, don't tell me what I can and cannot do. So anybody, whether you're Team Tank, you could cheer for them now, or you could choose to not cheer for them now. That's up to you. Whether you're team playing, you can or you can't. Just don't tell people what they should and shouldn't be doing. You mind your own business, you eat your damn oats, and you stay in your place and do what you got to do. But don't come around here and tell people what they need to do. Michael Jimenez.
Why are you telling people to eat their oats?
Because they need to eat their oats because they need to get thick, okay? They're saying
but you
Victor
just said you don't want nobody telling you what to do, but you're going to tell people to eat their oats?
They just need to sit there and eat their damn food. That's what they need to do. They need to sit there and eat their damn food, okay? Michael Jimenez, I love you, but you know dang well you cannot tell us what to do, okay? So.
Now you see why she's in wrestling now.
Yes, I do.
Now you can see why I'm in wrestling. And Boom Boom has not let me off the leash yet, okay? So just remember that. And it's up to Boom Boom to let me off the leash, seriously. Because all he has to do is pull the trigger. That's it.
You don't want to see that either. Let me tell you, people.
You don't.
You don't.
You don't. Thanks, Boom Boom. See, that's why I love y'all. This is my hype man right here. Okay, so Ray Betta says it's a master plan, and the big picture sports has the business side too. It was a master scheme. I totally agree. Everything the Spurs did was masterminded. Kudos to them. They're smarter than me. They're smarter than everybody in this room. Okay, I mean, perhaps we don't know. Maybe
you're in the other room.
Okay, so now speaking of people who are smart, or maybe not, Morant. Ja Morant is back in the news again. This time for the exact same thing he was back in the news for a while back. He was suspended earlier this year for brandishing a gun on social media. He received an 8-game suspension, said he would never do it again. And then recently on Sunday, he was suspended again for brandishing a gun once again. So he has a history of this controversy, from flashing a gun inside the strip club to allegedly punching a teenager during a pickup basketball game. And he released a statement and he said, I know I've disappointed a lot of people who have supported me. This is a journey and I recognize that there's more to do. My words may not mean much right now, but I take full accountability for my actions. I'm committed to continuing to work on myself. Ja Morant, what are your thoughts on this? I need everyone's thoughts. Gylan, I know you're really passionate about this topic. I need your initial thoughts.
First of all, Ja is ignorant. Period. End of story. He's also 23 years old. Multi-million dollars. Has more money than most people, 99% of this country, will ever see in their life. It's a gun. He was dancing with a gun. Some would say that was reckless. Understood. But he didn't break any laws. He was within his constitutional rights to do what he's doing. First Amendment, Second Amendment, within his rights. And I'm not a gun enthusiast. I'm not a gun fan. I think it is a cultural thing that America is not picking up on. And it's the cultural thing that's no different than certain groups of people in this country that have guns and they're standing in front of a Christmas tree. Or they don't agree with what the president is doing and they're pointing at a target and saying, come get my gun. He was listening to rap music, which is part of the culture of America, and he was acting ignorant with the gun. And I'm wondering, should we say he was acting ignorant with the gun? He was just had the gun. We don't know if there were bullets in the gun. We don't know if the safety was on or off. So we're making a lot of assumptions. He's 23 years old. A lot of people aren't going to agree with me on this because they think you give somebody millions of dollars and all of a sudden they're supposed to change. Well, there's a lot of NBA players that are alcoholics. There's a lot of NBA players that are beating their wives. There's a lot of people in this country that are doing those things. All I know, and this is my political statement, we don't do shit when there are kids shot in a school. We don't do anything about the inner city violence in this country. But we have an NBA player that's 23 years old, and we're going to suspend him for half of a season. The other piece of this, and I'll throw it over to Boom Boom and you, because I'm running my mouth, pontificating, is that we live in a gun culture. America has a gun culture, period, end of story. It's in everything we do. It's in all the movies and everything else. I understand, and Boom Boom's going to probably talk to this, where you have different personalities that are within business and they have contracts and they have certain things that they can and they cannot do. I get that and I respect that contract. But I don't think like you have to make an example out of this young man when we don't make an example out of anybody else in this country when they screw up with guns and let kids get shot. The end.
Boom, what do you think? That's great, actually.
Yeah, it was very passionate.
You said a lot, and
Yeah.
it was a lot, and so I think I just need to sit here and eat my oats. But I mean, no, I really do think you have a lot of valid points. This country is gun happy, and people are judging him for mistakes he made. Do you think what do you think should happen to him? That's what I want to ask you. I'm going to ask you that. Now, you said he's 23 years old. People make mistakes. So what do you think is the appropriate punishment for him?
Oh, I don't know. It's not 40 games. I think therapy is way underrated in this country. I think there needs to be some therapy there. I don't know. That's a hard one.
Do you think he should be fully suspended from the NBA and participating in the NBA?
I could see 10, maybe 15 games. But there needs to be something more, right? Suspension, I don't think is enough. Cutting pay is not enough. I don't know if it's a public speaking engagement. But listen, what do you want him to do? We literally... we had Parkland. Hold up. We had Parkland. And so we're going to ask an NBA player who's 23 years old to go out there and speak for guns or be suspended for guns when we can't even pass laws to keep kids safe. We can't restrict that stuff. So what is suspending a 23-year-old man, young man going to do except for make an example out of him? And what do we make an example out of? We don't make an example out of, we can't make an example out of the shooters because the shooters are dead, but we don't make an example out of the politicians when they refuse to do anything. What do we make an example out of him for? Because little kids watching, more little kids know what happened in Parkland than know who John Morant is, in my opinion.
I disagree.
So what are we suspending him for?
Okay, so let me just say I agree with you on some things, but I disagree on you with some other things. Jay Pettis says, and I'm going to ask you this before I give it to Boom Boom. He says John Morant needs to change his circle. Do you think he needs to change his circle?
Yes, 100%.
Why?
I think his circle is part of the problem. You can take the hood out the brother, but you can't take the brother. I'm sorry, you take the brother out the hood, but you can't always take the hood out the brother. The problem is John Morant grew up like Will Smith in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. He did not grow up in the hood. He's trying to portray something that he is not. The same way that his father is trying to portray something that he's not. His father's not Usher. His father's not the friend of every NBA player out there. He needs to be a dad. He needs to, I don't know. Yes, change his circle. I think it's huge, but you can't legislate him changing his circle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
he's the Allen Iverson of our time right now.
That's a great way to end that because I agree with you. Boom Boom, what are your thoughts on this?
So we talked a little bit about before we started the show, and so what do you think about the way The Rock handles himself?
We did talk about The Rock, and we said The Rock has been in wrestling, and he's had showmanship for several years. And, you know, when I saw him at the XFL Championship, both times, him and Danny Garcia, his ex-wife, where they have a great business relationship together, and they are both owners in the XFL. When you see them behind the scenes, they are so nice. And it's like they know that this is how they have to conduct themselves in public, and you would never know. You don't see them with a bad day or a bad attitude or anything like that.
And so it took Rock a lot of practice to get that, and it'll probably and hopefully take Jaw to some practice as well. I mean, like it was pointed out, he's 23. When The Rock was a young man, he'll point out he got in legal trouble. He would shoplift. The whole $7 Productions is the amount of money he had in pocket at one time. And so it wasn't always the glamorous Rock. And so, I think there is whether it's good, bad, or different, when you're in the public eye, everybody's going to have an opinion. Everybody's going to be watching every step that you do. And, you could debate the morality behind that, but it's just the way it is. And so, you have to understand that you're representing your own personal brand, your team, your league, in some instances, culture I would throw in there as well. Mm-hmm. And so, while I'm not on the team that's like, let's go and humiliate the guy, but there's definitely some growing lessons, and as he becomes what I assume he wants to be, an NBA all-time great, maybe he should confer with the other NBA all-time greats and see how they handle themselves, and handle adversity, and handle maturity issues. And I think he would probably find some good answers there.
I think that's also great. See, everybody's so great today. Like, y'all are just killing it. And I don't really have to say much. And even in the comments, people are bringing up great points. But the way that I feel about this situation is, Gylan, I know you had said he's 23 years old, and I understand he is 23 years old. If people, and Jalen Rose had said this on TV the other day, if people had broadcasted all the things we did at 23 years old, we'd be screwed too. And we've all made a lot of mistakes as humans.
Especially with social media.
Especially in the social media age. It's you're way under a big, heavier microscope. But my thing is this. You already got in trouble a few months back. You already released a statement. You knew not to be on social media with a gun. If you have a gun, great. You have your Second Amendment right to carry. You are licensed to carry. He has all of those things. And NBA YoungBoy, that's the song, the music he was listening to. It just came out with his album on Friday, and that's a great album. And I want to jam out to NBA YoungBoy too. And he brings out a vibe in you where you might want to pull out your gun and start having a great time. That's how you like to jam out to your music. But don't do it on social media, because you just had this issue where you got in trouble for doing that. And now you had said, Gylan, that, you know, they're doing it to make an example out of him. Of course they are. And whether it's okay or not, that's something we do have to have a conversation about. But like you said, we had a conversation off the air, and you said it was the off season when he did this. And my thing is, despite it being an off season, he's signed to a contract with the Grizzlies. Throughout the duration of the contract, you're signed to the Grizzlies. If you have an endorsement brand with Gatorade, Nike, the Grizzlies, whatever, throughout that time, whether it's 3 years, 4 years, you're locked in and you represent that brand for that amount of time, whether it's the off season or not. And you have to be mindful of what you're doing, especially when you have the NBA, who is very socially conscious. We're in a society where there's a lot of mass shootings. People are very, very sensitive about the right to carry, and sensitive about assault rifles and all those things that people talk about politically. People are very passionate one way or the other. So that's why you have to be mindful about what you're doing on social media, because the NBA, who, by the way, several years back, they had an anti-gun violence campaign that they were running. And when you're representing the NBA and you're brandishing a gun on social media, you're doing the opposite of what they're trying to promote, which is anti-gun violence.
That wasn't violent what he did.
But you're brandishing.
That's not against. So being on a postcard is not anti-gun violence. It's you're on a postcard that you're sending to your friends and family with the gun.
I agree with you, but the difference between the people who are carrying assault rifles with a Christmas tree in front of them and John Morant is that those people aren't signed to an NBA contract. They don't represent an organization.
No, they're just protecting our country as congressmen and senators. Yeah, no big deal.
I don't know what those people that you're bringing out are doing, and if we have a specific Christmas card, we could call their employers and get their asses in trouble.
We'd have to vote them out of office.
Or vote them out of office or whatever.
Yeah.
But we're to compare apples to oranges when you just have this situational case where you have somebody who's supposed to be representing the NBA. What he did was ignorant. It's not okay. And I do hope he learns from this and he grows from this, because I don't think that he should be suspended. And the things like Kwame Brown is saying, they should trade him in for some peanuts for the next contract. I think he should have an opportunity to redeem himself. But what he did at the end of the day doesn't go with the code of conduct with the NBA and what he signed the contract for and who he's representing. And just because we have certain rights in this country, like freedom of speech, freedom to carry, or whatever what is it called? I don't know about the government. The 13, not the Bill of Rights, the amendments.
Wow.
What are they? Are they 13 amendments? 16? How many? I don't.
Wow, Carolina,
I don't know.
stop.
I don't know. Look, I'm a sports commentator. I'm not a government commentator. I don't talk politics for a reason.
Well,
but my whole
let
thing
me
is
say this real quick.
we have rights, okay? But our employers can determine whether they want to fire our asses or not. We have to really conduct ourselves to a certain standard.
Well, this is going to set a precedent, big time, because there's no ifs, ands, or buts. It's not like when Jokic pushed somebody over the other day and didn't get suspended, right? So when you start suspending people for guns and brandishing guns, if you have somebody who has a gun in his back pocket, open carry, closed carry, is it because he was listening to rap music and was brandishing a gun? Like, where is it going to stop if your employer tells you what you can't do on the outside of work? Final thing I'll say on this. Charles Barkley said it best. I am not your role model. And end the story. These people are not role models.
They're not role models. Our parents should be raising us. I know all of that stuff and I understand that part, but it's unfortunately the NBA doesn't think like that. So they're going to punish him. I don't know how long. And whatever happens, happens.
Yeah.
Whatever happens, we can't do nothing about it. That's it. Okay, Haney versus Loma. This is actually a really great fight. It's going to be this Saturday, and I'm very excited about it. Top Rank does it again. Devin Haney versus Lomachenko. Haney's one of the only few undisputed 4-belt carriers in the world, one of the best lightweight boxers ever. Lomachenko, one of the top lightweight boxers as well. This is going to be a fantastic fight, and I'm really excited for it because they've been trying to make this fight happen for several years now. It's finally coming to a crossroads, and Haney has a plethora of experience under his belt at only 23 years old. He's trained with Floyd Mayweather. He's trained with the best of the best, and I'm very, very excited for this one. I'm going to go ahead and go with Devin Haney. Devin Haney, to me, is going to be undisputed, remain undisputed, and I don't see anybody taking the title away from him soon. And I think it's going to be a tough fight. But I do think Haney is a better fighter, especially when he's dealing with southpaws and orthodox fighters. He just knows how to adjust properly. He's good with his footwork. He can work inside the ropes and outside the ropes. So I'm going to go ahead and take Devin Haney for this fight. I know that you guys don't really watch boxing that much. Boom Boom and Gylan. But I do think if you guys are excited about I think this is a fight to watch. It's one of those fights where they hardly happen, and it's going to be very exciting. These are both top contenders in their division, and it's exciting to see what's going to happen next. Okay, so we got Boom Boom here with us.
That's the end of that.
Yeah, for me, at this point, it is, it's UFC. Love UFC. It is boxing or probably wrestling and then boxing. As far as like, if I had to go to an event. However, I think I would go to a boxing match. I know I'd go to a boxing match to really enjoy it. But again, I came up during Tyson years. Boxing's not the same. I grew up on Muhammad Ali and Tyson. It's just not the same anymore.
Okay, so your top three in a combat sports: UFC, boxing, wrestling. That's your top three.
UFC, probably wrestling, and then boxing.
Boom Boom, what's your top three?
You don't even need to ask. Wrestling by far. I did watch boxing for quite a bit. Kind of ended it with the post, Pacquiao and Mayweather years. But it is a sweet sport when, all the planets align and, the fights that we want to see are signed and done, not 10 or 12 years after they're past their prime. So, but it is a sweet science. I mean, I agree. Remember watching in the 80s Hagler and Hearns and, just some absolute thrilling fights. And I would like to see boxing get back into that, but again, they have to sign the fights when the guys are in their prime as compared to like strategically waiting it out for different reasons. So, but hey, I just hope they have fun this weekend.
Yeah, me too. I hope nobody gets hurt. Okay, so for me, it's boxing, wrestling, MMA. I think boxing and wrestling for me are like hand in hand, right? There's a slight drop off of wrestling though because I grew up on boxing, and boxing reminds me of my childhood. I think that's why I give it the edge. And then MMA, I'm getting into it. So those would be my top three. But combat sports are undefeated, period, when it comes to sports. Me personally, I'm obsessed because I feel like I love watching people kick each other's asses and stuff like that. So that's
why the NFL is so popular.
Yeah, but the NFL is, what really bothers me if people say like, wrestling's fake or whatever, but really, NFL could be rigged. NBA's been proven to be rigged.
Oh.
I'm just saying. Okay, anyways, I got Boom Boom here the 21st. This Sunday, tickets are almost sold out, and I wanted people to talk to you people to listen to what you have to say, because a lot of people don't know that people who are currently in the WWE have once been inside of the ring at River City Wrestling, and people don't understand that sometimes the best talent is right here in San Antonio in your backyard. And one of the people that I could think of is Cody Rhodes. We were talking about him earlier. He was in WrestleMania, lost to Royal Reigns. It really pulled at my heartstrings. I was really heartbroken over that loss.
And they did their job.
But Cody Rhodes used to wrestle at River City Wrestling.
That's correct. Yeah, right after the WWE, what do you call it, a release, or Cody left on his own. But we were the first stop here in Texas for Cody Rhodes back before the blonde hair and all that. And it's amazing to see how far he has come. And just, again, kind of talking a little bit about job, but, wrestling is marketing. That's really what it is. And so it's about building brands for the characters, for the stories and everything. And Cody Rhodes has really gotten that. He went out and started his own company and, eventually came back to WWE. And the way he is branded now is on a much different plane than prior. And so, yeah, it's been awesome to see.
Yeah, and it's inspiring that somebody who fought locally can come back to the WWE and be in a big main event, and you're one of those people who are instrumental in making that stuff happen.
Well, at WrestleMania for Cody, he has a weighted belt that's kind of like a homage to Hollywood Hulk Hogan. But on his belt, he wrote down all the local promotions, the regional promotions that he wrestled for, and kind of this journey from leaving WWE to coming back and main eventing WrestleMania. RCW was on there, and so was a lot of other independent promotions that he wrestled for. But that was pretty cool to see.
Yeah, I really love that belt because I took a picture of it and I was like, oh, RCW. It just makes me so happy that he wore the belt and he was like slapping people with it. It was great, like in the main event. And then also, so Anthony Gonzalez has a comment. Okay. And you're the perfect person to talk to about this because your wrestling knowledge is vast. He said wrestling, and I want to know your thoughts on this. He said wrestling for me isn't what it was once during with the golden era of Stone Cold, Undertaker, Mankind, etc. Do you agree with him? What are your thoughts?
Well, first I would correct him that the golden era is the era with Hulk Hogan, Macho Man, and Andre the Giant. In that particular era he's talking about is the Attitude Era. With wrestling, it's going to go in cycles. And again, it's about marketing the characters and having the characters resonate. I would venture to say if you watch an episode of AEW Dynamite and then you go back into those territory golden era years, where there was the NWA and AWA and some of the other world class, the differences are pretty stark because in those days the characters were so larger than life that's what personified. It was the over the top promos. It was the the top characters. It was the $1 Million Man coming out in the little money suit. It was the Ultimate Warrior talking all this nonsense and being jacked up, right? And they're the larger than life characters, and wrestling has become a little bit more reality based. But if you watch an episode of Dynamite, AEW Dynamite, compared to those, the athleticism is unreal, and it's very stark in between the two eras. Now, that's not to say one era is better than the other, but we were talking about Mick Foley earlier, and so the bar in entertainment and sports entertainment constantly gets raised. And so when a guy in the late 90s gets thrown off the top of a Hell in a Cell, it's like, where do you go from there? Where do you top it? And so you'll find that in today's product, it's a lot of athleticism. The women are presented so completely differently from golden era, attitude era to now, to where women, I feel a lot of times are having the best matches of the night, best members of the roster, whereas they're presented back then as TNA, as kind of sidearm, characters. At the most you'd get like the big kind of broad women going against
Like China?
Against the blonde bombshells.
Boom boom. Can I jump in real quick?
Uh-huh.
That even goes like when I think about it, like Stephanie McMahon, like she was a sex symbol during that time, right? They'd rip her dress off and rip her top off. And then I even remember, and a lot of people remember this, but Glow. Remember Glow? Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling? Mm-hmm. And it was basically women dancing or wrestling in skimpy attire. I remember it very well. But what they've done with women and their roles within is unbelievable.
I would say the women are in some cases the best on the roster or having the best matches.
I honestly think so too.
And that's a big difference. And again, you're going to more reality based, a little bit less of, the over the top, characters. It seemed like in those eras, it was almost like an occupational character. Right, there was a cowboy, there was a race car driver, there was a clown, there was a dead guy, there was a dentist, there was a doctor. They all had like occupational things, and now it's morphed into, well, how do you define Roman Reigns? How do you define Cody Rhodes? And so it's become less of the occupational characters and kind of the over-the-top characters to more morphed into what a Roman Reigns is and what a Cody Rhodes is. And, their reality pumped up a little bit, and their athleticism is now up front and is center stage as compared to, coming out there in face paint and just, I don't want to say acting a fool, but just being over the top. And so I agree. There is a certain genre of wrestling that does appeal to that. And, even as a wrestling promoter, we have to have characters that appeal to that. For example, we have your favorites, the Pillars of Destiny.
I love them.
Who portray Vikings, and they, will not break that at any time, And so, for the throwback fans, oh man, that's great. I can get into these Vikings that are true Vikings. Of course, there are no actual Vikings nowadays. And so, and the reality-based fans might say, well, that's silly, or that insults the intelligence. Mm-hmm. And so you have both of those now, and you kind of have to play into both of those factors, because is it a little silly sometimes to have an over-the-top character? It might be considered. And so another character that has gone viral from RCW is Luigi Primo. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure your sports fans and wrestling fans have seen, because it was on Barstool Sports, it was on Sports Illustrated. I mean, the guy went completely viral, but he's a wrestling pizza man. Mm-hmm. And if you encounter Luigi Primo, he's not like, hey, I'm Chris, I play a guy named Luigi Primo.
Right.
He's Luigi Primo.
He's literally Luigi Primo.
Like, I take this guy to like appearances, mm-hmm. and he doesn't, oh yeah, my name is Chris, nice to meet you. He's Luigi Primo, and everything is, I'm making the pizza, and everything has the at the end of it.
And he has a cult following.
Yeah.
He does. He has a really cult following. And also, the questions and comments are starting to roll in.
Good.
So
I love wrestling. Let's talk.
So people, somebody said San Antonio radio fears Carolina, and people would want to see me wrestle in a cage match. I have gotten so many people who have asked me time and time again, why haven't you, and this is not me asking, this is people asking me all the time, how come I haven't taken a bump? How come I don't wrestle? Do you foresee, and this is Boom Boom's production, do you see me getting my ass kicked in the future? And, what would it take to make that happen?
So here's the thing, I'm an old school traditionalist in terms of the business itself. And I know that the veil has been lifted, and there's all these reality-based shows and things like that encourage that transfer from these over-the-top characters to more reality-based. And so, but I'm also a firm believer of that. When I was 20 years old, I packed up my Jeep Wrangler, and which back in the 90s is not, you can't get much on a Jeep Wrangler.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because I like Jeep.
Oh, I love Jeeps too.
Yeah,
because,
yeah.
I mean, you
Back
fill
in
it
the
up
day, it
pretty
was
quick.
bad. Okay.
And so I moved from Tampa to back here, specifically San Marcos, but to South Texas, just to attend the Shawn Michaels Academy. And this is, and then we say academy, and basically it was this hot, grungy, dirty, grimy gym up over a taco restaurant. And so, but it was Shawn Michaels, and it was enough to make me drop everything that I was doing and fill up my Jeep Wrangler and just sell off anything that didn't fit and drive all the way from Tampa to Florida to leave here to just be trained by Shawn Michaels. And I went into it not wanting to be a wrestler. I mean, I'm 6'4", I'm 250, but I was never coordinated enough to imagine myself as a wrestler. But I wanted to experience and know everything that a wrestler does. And so right now with social media and the way Texas is deregulated, hell, anybody can be a wrestler. Anyone can be a wrestling promoter. That's unfortunate, but that's the reality. I mean, it is. It's super
Everybody
unfortunate.
thinks they could just wake up one day and promote a show and do it. Yeah.
It's super unfortunate. Whereas back in the old days, it was kind of like the mafia. I mean, you kind of had to have someone introduce you and vouch for you. And then, the trainer would try to kick your ass enough to where possibly you quit. And if you do happen to stay involved in it, eventually you became like made, almost like the mafia.
Like a made man. Yeah.
Social media and the deregulation has completely wiped that out. But I still believe in the old school method that you need to know what a wrestler endures in order for you to be a wrestler. If you look at Bad Bunny, who just wrestled a couple weeks ago, Bad Bunny didn't go in there and make a joke and a spectacle of it. You can tell just by the way he wrestled that even with his schedule, that guy put in the training. That guy did the right training to go in there and make it look exceptionally good. And Logan Paul, I know a lot of people don't like Logan Paul, but same thing. The guy put in the work, the training into doing that. And because, it is a little for hardcore wrestling fans to see a celebrity come in, not take it seriously at all. It clearly reflects in the performance. And it's like, wink, wink, wrestling's fake, right? But when you get a guy like Bad Bunny and you get a guy like Logan Paul that dedicate their time to learning the craft and training for it, it shows in the performance. And so, Carolina, you're going to need to go to the Hybrid School of Wrestling here in San Antonio, Texas, which is a great wrestling school, and learn how to do it properly. I don't want to put you out there, even though, yes, we're not the WWE, but I don't want to put you out there in a situation where you look bad and the business itself looks bad.
And safety first.
Safety first.
Safety
yes.
first.
And that's a bit.
You've always been big on safety first, because there have been wrestlers who have tried to push me, who have tried to grab my hair, and you have actually had to have conversations and tell them to stop bullying me. I'm serious.
Okay. So boom, boom. What I hear you say is with more training, Carolina can get her ass kicked in the ring or kick somebody else's ass in the ring.
Now, I have a secret to tell
you.
Hold
up. Oh. I asked Boom Boom, with proper training, can this happen?
With proper training and proper execution from that training.
Understood.
Because there's a lot of guys on the independents that have done a little bit of training and very poor execution. And that makes it harder for the legitimate wrestling promotions to sell, because people have seen bad wrestling, at a local bar or whatever the hell. And then they're like, oh man, if it's not WWE, I'm not giving it a shot.
Boom Boom's old school. I respect it, man.
I respect that, because I know you're big on safety first, and I totally respect that. And I don't want to. I can't just kick someone's ass and look bad. I got to kick someone's ass and look good. Yeah. Okay? And I have a secret to tell you, Boom Boom.
Oh, God.
I actually am going to start training soon. I want to start training.
Good.
And not because I want to be a wrestler. I don't want to be a wrestler, Boom Boom. Like you, I don't want to be a wrestler. I love ring announcing. I like using my voice, like yelling at people. And what I would like to do, and I'm going to speak it into existence, is I want to throw one of the wrestlers who has been bullying me this entire time. I want to finally get my revenge. I know I need your permission. I know I need to practice.
Yeah.
But it's gonna happen, and I'm gonna speak it into existence. Not anytime soon, but I want to put in the work, and I want to throw somebody outside of the ring. I am tired of some of the wrestlers just straight up bullying me.
So, and going back to the training, which will enable you to get there. But going back to the training, we were talking old school wrestling, and you remember when Mr. T was a part of the WWF back in the old days and WrestleMania 1. There's a great documentary out there that talks about Mr. T's involvement and specifically the way Rowdy Piper views the business and was old school. And they will talk about how much he did not want to do for Mr. T, because in his mind, if Mr. T screwed up, if he made it look bad, then it was up to Piper to now kick his ass and make it look real again. Mm-hmm. And so that's a very old school mentality. It's a great documentary. I think it's out on A&E, where Piper just says, yeah, I was fully prepared to beat the shit out of Mr. T, if he made it look bad. And so, wrestling has progressed, but, you do have old school wrestlers who think that way, say, if you make me look bad, I'm going to make it look real on you. And
Piper's a different cat.
Yeah.
Ryder Piper was way different kind of dude.
He was from the old school, and that's a very old school mentality is protect the business, is, make sure everything looks great, but safety first, in the sense that, back in the old days, now it's a little bit different. Back in the old days, these guys would wrestle and travel 300 days out of the year. Mm-hmm. And if they didn't get guaranteed contracts. If they didn't wrestle, they didn't get paid. And that's kind of how it is on the independents. WWE, AEW is a much different story nowadays. But back in the old days, it was not only protecting the business and having it look legitimate and good, but also protecting the person you're working with so that guy can go out and wrestle the next day. Yeah. Because if you go in there and you hurt the guy and the guy, is out for 3 months, that's 3 months he doesn't get paid. So envision, yourself, being employed and then not having a paycheck for 3 months. What are you going to do? So that's a very old school mentality on Piper, Flair, and all those guys that thought of the business that way, because that's what they were doing. They were traveling around the country. This is before cable TV and now the apps and everything. They would travel around the country, and if you couldn't travel, you didn't get paid. Mm-hmm. So that's why safety is first, but at the same time making it look good so that way the people come in and suspending your disbelief is the best time of wrestling. Mm-hmm. And when you can make the people react, whether it's boo, yay, or whatever, as you mentioned, you were upset about Cody Rhodes losing to Roman Reigns. Mm-hmm. That's the sweet spot. And so, if the crowd's just kind of sitting there, okay, that's a good match. I'm gonna wait for the catchphrases, right? Mm-hmm. That's not really the good stuff. The good stuff is when you actually were invested in the story and the character so much that you had an emotional response to what you were watching, and that's it. That's the psychology of wrestling, is to get you to react.
Facts. And so I love everything you just said. I love the fact that you're old school too, because that makes me feel safe in regards to nobody just gonna throw me in the ring looking crazy. So bottom line, if I put in the work, if I execute,
and the people at Hybrid are like, this girl's ready. Because I listened to
live
perhaps,
on League of Our Own.
Perhaps
it was said
live on League of Our Own. It was just that you heard it here first, you guys.
Yep.
You know what? And I want to do y'all a favor. I know you guys are watching and listening. And they're going crazy in the comments. If you guys believe in me, I'm gonna get it done. Okay? I really want to throw somebody who has been bullying me in the ring. Dan Ciliana says he thinks it's gonna be Brandon Weiss. But maybe so. We don't know yet. Maybe I'm gonna suck. Maybe I don't know how to properly execute throwing somebody out the ring, and it's never gonna happen. But I'm gonna let y'all know I'm gonna try my best. I know how to street fight, okay? I've been in a lot of those, but properly executing with safety first and making sure nobody splits their neck in half is another. So I'm willing to put in the work. If you guys really want to see me throw somebody, I'm going to throw somebody. And maybe somebody can throw me. I don't know. They might throw me back. I don't know what'll happen.
I haven't wrestled in a match in quite a few years, but I did from around like 2005 to 2014, 2013. I would be in matches here and there. And, the worst injury I ever got, and wasn't even, I don't even know when it occurred in the match. I just know I couldn't take a full breath of air, but I punctured or cracked some ribs and then punctured a lung. And so I just know at some point in the match, I was like, I can't take a full breath, That was the worst injury I ever occurred, and that's just kind of as a every once in a while type thing. I've seen way worse injuries. We talked about that one of our female champions is out right now with a pretty major knee surgery and complications from that surgery, and it's going to be months before she wrestles again. And that happens all the time. You look at the big names, Hulk Hogan's had hip replacement surgeries, had knee replacement surgeries, Stone Cold, he's got his whole neck fused, with these actual plates and fused. You look at Mick Foley, watching him walk is painful. And he's a legend of the business, but the things that occur in the ring, even though quote unquote is fake or scripted, it's pretty serious. And so I always tell people it's like, being in a wrestling ring, wrestling is like being in a car accident. Because, when you take the bumps and stuff like that, all of that is like a kind of like a stop compression moment and, whiplash, right? Mm-hmm. And so if you get slammed, well, your neck is going to whiplash, and so, you look at some of the old veterans and they're just, it's hard to watch them get around. Because their body has been through so much.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think people really underestimate how hard people train and how people work, because I talk to all the women wrestlers and we're in the women's locker room getting ready and stuff for the events, and they talk about how many surgeries they've had, and they're my age and they've been through 3 hip replacements and knee replacements, and I know people who are in their 50s and 60s and haven't even had their first hip replacement or knee replacement. So it's a very taxing sport. So when people say it's fake, it really bugs me, because I know how real this sport is to people, especially if people always ask me, do you know who the winner is, going into it? Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I just get
mystery.
Yeah, it's a mystery, and I get surprised, and I have to pay attention to the matches and figure out who's going to win and who's going to lose. So you can never predict the winner of the outcome. Only the guy at the top already knows. I think we got to wrap it up, but real quick, just quick hits. Roxanne Perez, Roxy, she was a part of RCW, a minute or less. Now she's with WWE. She's women's champion, women's tag team champion. She's killing it. If you never came to River City Wrestling prior to Roxy making it into the WWE, you really lost out on a treat. How often do we see people go from River City Wrestling to the big stage, and why are people missing out if they're not coming?
Pretty often. Now, it's usually like a 5-year difference. But, Roxy was definitely catapulted. She was wrestling for us last summer, and now she's in WWE. And that's not always the case. But generally, you look at the guys in AEW and WWE, Keith Lee, Sammy Guevara, a bunch of other guys and girls that are now on TV. And it does take a little bit of time. It does take a few years, but it's awesome to see.
Okay, last quick hit. You got a lot of talent on River City Wrestling. They're going to be here this Sunday. I'm excited for this card. It's going to be amazing. All these incredible matches. I cannot wait. Out of all the talent that we get to see, what names do click in your mind? They're going to make it to the top. No questions.
Wow, one name?
You could give me 2 names.
I'll definitely say Maddie Rinkowski. is just white hot right now. Her promos are just off the charts good. Her ability in the ring is fantastic. She's on NWA now. She's getting some shots with AEW and Ring of Honor. She is definitely one to watch out for, without a doubt. The other one I would probably say is getting up there. Would probably say right now the current champion is Khan. Mm-hmm. Now he already is in Ring of Honor and things like that, but I expect bigger things from him. He really understands what it's like to build a brand, a personal brand, and to represent that well. And so I see him doing big things.
Brandon Oliver, Boom Boom, River City Wrestling, staple in San Antonio wrestling, been doing it for 20 plus years. Just a legend in independent wrestling in San Antonio and nationwide. Absolutely killing it. Your brand was on Cody Rhodes' belt. Such an incredible honor to be able to interview you and ring announce for River City Wrestling. And I will be there with you this Sunday, May 21st. To get your tickets, we're almost sold out. www.rivercitywrestling.net. Follow him at RCW Forever. And always a pleasure having you on. I mean, you are a freaking legend, man.
Well, I would just want to point out one other thing that, even though the independent shows tend to have a more intimate feel, i.e. doesn't draw as much as WWE. The thing about it is you go to WWE, you sit in section 200, and you probably will never get to meet one of the wrestlers unless it's by luck. Mm-hmm. At independent shows, you're right there. You're right there in the action. You actually do get to meet the wrestlers, and it's just a more enjoyable experience. I love the independents.
Absolutely. Me too. I mean, like I said, I've talked to these girls all the time, these guys all the time, and the next thing you know, they're on the WWE. So very intimate, and all the people who get to attend the shows, they get their autographs, they get to take pictures, they get to see Hall of Famers come through. I've got to announce some of the best Hall of Famers, and just been an incredible opportunity. I've been doing this for years, but now I want to take the next step.
Oh gosh.
And she wants to take bumps.
I don't want to. I don't want to be a wrestler, but I'm gonna train and I'm gonna prove myself to Boom Boom. You guys, mark my words. I am going to impress Boom Boom. That's my goal. Okay.
So let's impress Boom Boom one more thing.
Okay. This or that.
All right. So Boom Boom, you're gonna see it come up on the TV.
Okay.
Pickled jalapenos or fresh jalapenos?
Okay. Put Boom Boom on the screen.
Ooh, I don't like jalapenos.
Move them over.
Oh, you got to move them. Okay, never mind.
So scratch. Neither.
Why neither? You have to pick one.
Okay, fine. I'll go with that then.
Regular jalapenos?
So
yeah, but I still wouldn't eat it anyway. But since I'm on the spot and I had to pick one, I'll go with that.
Why not? Why no jalapenos?
Because I'm like super white.
I love you, Boom Boom. I love you, Boom Boom.
We got the mayonnaise. We got the bland foods.
You said we have the mayonnaise. No, mayonnaise is nasty.
I love mayonnaise.
I'm a mustard girl.
That's too spicy.
Yeah, I do pickled jalapenos, and that's just recently, within the past probably 10 years.
Yeah.
Carolina, which one do you do?
Both. I mean, both, but pickled for sure. Pickled 100%.
Pickled over fresh?
Over fresh, yeah, definitely. Because
Okay.
you can put the pickles on your pizza and put them in the oven at 350 for like 12 minutes, and they just settle in. It's so delicious.
Okay.
And then put them on your nachos. They're very versatile, and they're just kind of like candy. I mean, they're amazing. I'm Mexican. I love pickled jalapenos. You guys got to let me know in the comments if you like fresh or pickled. But Boom Boom has let us know that he does not like spicy food, just like Island, because he is white and he likes mayonnaise, which is something I learned.
Well, no.
Everybody's
Boom
laughing
Boom is
at
white. I am black. He's not just like Guyland.
Okay. Well, no.
One of these things are not like the other.
As far as spice level is concerned,
We love the potato salad without the spicing in there. So.
Oh Lord.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah. No.
Now we
no
got,
Boom Boom.
Okay.
Okay.
This or that.
First year players. This or that. Would you pick LeBron James or would you pick Wemby?
Wemby, go Spurs, go! Ride or die.
So regardless, so you're picking Wemby because he's with. I'm just saying first year player, regardless of who team, just first year player.
You got
If
my
the
little
Spurs
team.
had the chance to get LeBron James or Wemby, which one?
It's got to go with Wemby. That's my
Okay.
loyalty.
Carolina?
I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, well, you haven't even seen what the first season looks like. So
Exactly.
I'm rolling with Wemby because it's Wemby Wednesday. So Wemby Wednesday. I don't care about anything else. It's Wemby Wednesday. We're celebrating Wemby. Wemby Wednesday, hands down. Give me Wemby all day long. Shout out to LeBron though. Shout out to LeBron. Is that it? Is that all we got for this event?
That's it.
That was it. So thank you, Boom Boom, for stopping by. I'll see you this Sunday.
Yeah.
And everybody, I am cash apping the person who commented the most $20.
Wow.
Whoever commented the most comments throughout the show, they're getting $20 in their cash app. I'm gonna announce the winner when I get home after I eat my Chipotle. I'm gonna settle in, then I'll give y'all the cash app money. Okay? I love you guys. See you guys next week. I will be back. And I'm excited for what's to come. Bye guys. Love y'all.